Hey guys, GibbTV here. Okay, we're going to get into the war as a country today. When we last left off, we were talking about Europe. We were talking about Hitler and Mussolini conquering countries. We talked about the fall of France and the Battle of Britain, and it didn't look good in Europe for democracies. We started off neutral, and then we went to a policy that we talked about called Lend-Lease, where we were giving war materials to countries that were fighting against aggression and Hitler. So we were doing that. Now, what happened, which was a real big development, might have been too much for Hitler, might have been his downfall, but he decided to attack the Soviet Union, to attack Stalin, okay? And he does attack in the east. So Hitler is attacking north, he's attacking south, he's attacking east, he's attacking west. The guy spread himself out very thin. In the beginning, it looked like he was going to be able to do it, but it's a problem. Now, while we are occupied with all of that stuff in Europe, behind our back, unbeknownst to us, Japanese aircraft carriers and ships are sailing toward the Hawaiian Islands. And something that's known as Pearl Harbor, okay, kind of like we say September 11th, Pearl Harbor is the place of an attack by the Japanese. And what you'll see in the next few videos is the reasons why, where was Pearl Harbor, how did they do it, and what was the reaction to that. So what gets us into the war is not Nazis, it's not Hitler and Mussolini, it's not Russians, it's the Japanese. So you're going to learn about Pearl Harbor. I'm going to show you one clip today, and then I'll get back to it, and then we'll do another one. Well, actually a few clips, but I'm going to narrate in between. Okay, so let's check this one out. I think it's really good. It's something new from a museum. Okay, I'll be right back.
Hi again, I'm Eliana. I'm at the museum's newest exhibit, The Road to Tokyo, to find out why Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. With me is museum educator Chrissy Gregg.
Hey Eliana, thank you so much for being here with me today at the museum to learn a bit about this infamous day and how it impacted this entire world. Now, of course, we call World War II World War II for a reason, and it's because conflict spanned across this entire globe. And so, of course, I had to bring a giant globe with me to learn a little bit more about the geography of the war. Now, what we see on the globe right now, it's Asia and the South Pacific. So there's some countries we recognize today. We see China, Thailand, how about the Philippines? We see Indonesia, and of course, we see our main topic today, Japan. Now, if we go back 75 plus years ago, Japan wanted to become a more powerful country, but there were certain resources that they didn't have that prevented them from doing that. Look, it's a small country. But if we see here, they were looking all across the rest of Asia and the Pacific, and they saw some of these abundant resources they wanted. How could they get those resources, do you think?
Trade?
Yeah, they could trade, that was one way, but they also could do something else, invade these places where they saw all of these resources. So what I have here are actually flags. Flags of what country?
Japan.
Exactly, and so what we're going to be doing is placing those flags in the areas Japan invaded. So first off, let's stick one on Manchuria up here. That was in 1931. Next, Japan invades China in 1937. And then stick one down here. This is French Indochina. But you know what? We actually haven't talked about all these other flags on the map. Do you recognize any flags of these countries here?
British, French, even the US.
Yeah, even the United States. And actually we see a Dutch flag down here, a Portuguese flag up here. You probably know that all these countries are thousands of miles away from this area of the world. And actually these countries own territories in this part of Asia and the Pacific. And so as they see Japan moving in, they think Japan's invading, taking over their territory. Japan says, we're not invading, we're not conquering. What we're doing instead is freeing all of these territories from Western control.
So what does this have to do with Hawaii?
Ah, good question. All right, you see where we've stuck the U.S. flag right here? What country is that? Yeah, that is the Philippines, which is, of course, is a country today, but back then it was a U.S. territory. So the United States sees Japan invading, and they're thinking maybe the Philippines is going to be next. So the U.S. decides to do certain things to help try to prevent that, at least. And so, to actually demonstrate that, we got to turn our globe. All right, so let's turn it to the United States. Very good. The U.S. decides to move its Navy, which is actually stationed in San Diego, California, and they move it all the way over here, which is where exactly?
To our ships in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, the ships move to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And so Japan sees that as, oh, maybe the U.S. is interfering in our plans. So what they decide to do is plan a secret surprise attack. Where do you think that was going to be?
Our ships at Pearl Harbor?
Exactly.
Okay, guys, so here's what you're going to see. You're going to see from the movie called Pearl Harbor, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's a long movie, but from the movie Pearl Harbor, you're going to see clips of the attack. It's confusing. There's a lot going on, but these 300 small airplanes come in from the north. They're successful in getting to Hawaii, but without being detected. And they have several targets. They're attacking the ships in the harbor, all right, Pearl Harbor, and they're also attacking the air bases that are surrounding the harbor so that the airplanes that we have can't get up and defend against their airplanes. So it's just a lot of craziness. There's bombs being dropped. There's torpedoes being dropped by airplanes. There's all sorts of sailors panicking, trying to fight back. This is kind of a montage of the attack. It's a great movie. Oh, there goes a dog. Anyway, I want you to watch this, and then I'll probably have a part 2 to this video, which will be the declaration of war and you know, what happens is gets us into the war. It's a surprise attack, and it leaves us really, really angry. Okay, so here is a clip of scenes from the movie Pearl Harbor about the attack. All right. yeah, that makes me angry every time I see it. You know, it's one of the worst days in American history. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now do a part 2, which is going to have a little bit of follow-up, including FDR and his reaction. Okay, so continue now to part 2. Remember, I always put the YouTube link up, and then I also put an MP4, which is in my Google Drive, so you don't have to go online to do that. Okay, so go to part 2.